Are you doing well?
Much better since she's off the restriction of can't lift more than 10 pounds.
Oh, yeah. Did you say that a few times? Yeah. This Wednesday night, we would love for you to join us at Buffalo Park. We'll be
His promises are spirit's cheer. God is love. He is our sun and shield by day, our help, our hope, our strength and stay. He will be with us all the way. Our God is love. God is love. God is love. Come, let us all unite to sing that God is love. God is love. God is love. Come, let us all unite to sing that God is love.
It's Mom, I think.
Paying attention today, it's my turn. Y'all are yellow. Or italicized if you're on the table page. Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. God's faithful love endures forever. Let the redeemed of the Lord say so. Those God redeemed from trouble and gathered in from the lands. From the east and west, from the north and south. God turns a desert into pools of water,
A parched land into springs of water.
and there he lets the hungry live, and they establish a town to live in. They sow fields and
And
plant
vineyards,
and
you get a fruitful yield.
By God's blessing, they multiply greatly, and he does not let their cattle decrease. When they are diminished and brought low through oppression, trouble, and sorrow, God pours contempt on princes and makes them wander aimlessly in the wastelands. But God raises up the needy out of distress and makes their families like flocks. The upright see it and are glad, and all the wicked people shut their mouths. But the wise pay attention to these things and consider the faithful love of God, of the Lord.
Be thou my vision, O Lord of my heart, not be all else to me save that thou art. Thou my best thought by day, O
We have been doing reports on different opportunities that we've had to use the money, the $100. And even though I forgot to tell you that he's doing this, Ken's going to share with us now. So camera, you won't be able to see this, but you'll be able to hear it. Ken's going to share with us what he did with his money. It's pretty exciting.
Well, every Monday I go to Dylan's there at Central and Page Road. And we all go there early, the group of people I see there, bunch of little old ladies and me, I'll go there to get the cheap deals in the deli because they mark them down to half price. So anyway, we know each other, we pass each other all the way. And we always meet at the discount aisle looking for the next best bargain. And it was the week before the 4th, so it was July 1st or 2nd. And I said, Joe, you got any big plans for the 4th? And they go, well, we're kind of tight on money. And that's why we're here, every Monday trying to find the cheap deals to get us by through the week. And I said, well, what would you normally do on the 4th if you had the money? And they said, oh, we'd buy ice cream, or we'd buy cake, or we'd buy pie, or whatever their favorite thing was to have it on. So I go, well, it's your lucky day. I've got a $20 bill for each of you. Go buy what you want. And so these ladies, every time they saw me in the Dillons, they said, there's that sweet guy right there. And so anyway, it ended up being a blast.
I thought they said that sweet old guy, but they just said that sweet old guy.
They probably said old.
I'm teasing.
They think I'm young compared to
Yeah,
them.
that's right. No, that's a great example. As just to hear somebody ask. I love the way that Kent did that with Dawn too. That what would you do if you had the money? Just kind of introduce it into a way. Well, we wouldn't be able to do this if we did. Since we don't have the money. Well, here, why don't you go do those things? And it really made those ladies' day. One of the things that has also happened is we have received back from the people that have received the money. Okay, and so I'm just going to read to you what I received a good long time ago. As a matter of fact, very close to right after we did this. A woman named Pam from your church is a customer where I work. Okay? She came in this morning and said that your church was going to give money to people. She chose me, and I just wanted to express my gratitude to her, to your church, and to you. The reason I'm on it is because she had my number. All right? And so she said, here, tell him if you want to tell someone. So Pam didn't know this, but I'm a recovering alcoholic. At 25 years old, it's already hard trying to build a life for yourself, made even more difficult after spending so many years living in chaos and destruction. I've been doing my best to stay positive and trust that my higher power can help guide me through. This week, I had 3 bills totaling $540 after paying rent last week. I donated plasma twice a week and worked 55 hours a week to try to catch up. I never feel like it's enough, and I don't have a lot of friends in Wichita since I just moved here. I've been feeling very alone and isolated. It's hard for me to turn to God sometimes because I was raised with some very religious trauma. This act of kindness by Pam and your church has moved me very deeply. Thank you for all of your kindness and generosity. Thank you for showing me that people still do kind works in God's name. I'm very grateful for the money, but I'm more so grateful for the gesture. I'm thankful for the peace, feeling of kindness, motivation, and knowledge that good people are out there more than anything. Thank you. Thank you. And this was not the last word with this person. Bob, come on up. Bob Foster got hold of this from his daughter, from Anna Jane, and he said, I'm going to follow up on this. And so he went and visited with the person that Pam had given the money with. Tell us about that.
Okay, yeah, he works at Burger King, which happens to be one of my favorite places. So, yeah, Pam read that to me, and I thought, oh, this guy, he needs somebody to come talk to him. So, ordinarily,
No.
I wouldn't, I'd be shy and not do it, but I decided, let's go, and went. Ordered lunch, and he wasn't there when I got there, but he finally showed
No.
up, and I asked him to come by, and we visited for a little while, and he basically expressed those things that he had written, and I was really impressed with the young man. He's a recovering alcoholic, but he seems like he's just really right, ready to grow, and so we talked, and I invited him to be here. He said, "Do you have angels at your church?" And I said, "Oh yeah, we got a whole table full of them." And so he said, "Well, I might stop in." So we haven't seen him come by yet, but you know, the seed was planted, and I felt real good about it.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks for doing it. It's just another expression of just keeping our eyes and our minds alert
No,
to the
no,
possibilities and
no,
opportunities
no.
that can happen.
You need to get her.
And then if you have a chance to follow up, do a Bob and follow up. We never know. And here's the thing. We don't have any expectations with this as we give it. It's wonderful that Kent received there's the nice guy. It's wonderful that we got a text back from this person, and with great appreciation, and Bob followed up. We may not hear from all of the people that we give to. As a matter of fact, we probably won't hear from many. But it's an act of love, of giving. And so therefore, we're keeping our eyes open to that, to just make somebody's day better. Thank you so much, Bob. Thank you so much, Kent. Thank you for everyone that has been sharing this to others. Let's continue on.
One of these mics on. Got a couple options here. Hopefully you can hear me. So I am a middle-aged man, and so that means that I feel this pull towards new hobbies, like woodworking, probably not any sport at this point. But one of them that sometimes pops in my mind is that maybe I should get into brewing beer or wine. Very common for people my age. Probably not going to happen, and one of the reasons. There we go. One of the reasons is most of the times when I've tried somebody else's who's done that, it's kind of terrible. Like there was one guy in particular at my last church that gave us like a whole box of this wine he had made. It was so sweet. It was kind of carbonated when you opened it. It was not good. And I've seen videos online of people trying to brew things and like it explodes. Is dangerous, right? Wine, things like this, wine is complicated because the process of fermenting there's a lot going on, right? There's living organisms, there's yeast that's eating the sugars, it's expanding, right? Gas is created. It's potentially dangerous if you don't know what you're doing, if you're not careful, right? What you're making has to be in a container that suits that growth into something good, or else it just becomes a mess. Which is actually something that Jesus talked about in one of the parables. So in Luke 5, he says this: "No one pours new wine into old wineskins. Otherwise, the new wine would burst the wineskins and the wine would spill, and the wineskins would be ruined. Instead, new wine must be put into new wineskins. And no one drinking old wine wants the new, because they say the old is fine." So there's a lot of ideas in this, and this is a communion thought, not a sermon, so I'll keep it brief. One of the things I hear is that sticking to the old wine, isn't great, right? When these people are saying it's fine, that sounds more like it's being tolerated than actually being enjoyed, which is, I think, what you would want with a bottle of wine. And Jesus is also saying that you can't do something new in old ways. See, transformation is always a delicate process. The change has to be balanced. You have to give attention to it through an ongoing process. It's not just a do it once and then leave it and forget about it. And Jesus told this parable because he was explaining the newness of his movement to people that didn't understand. And I think it's relevant to us today as we think about our church. I'm excited to think about the newness that we've already experienced in recent years, the newness of our current situation, and the newness that could come still as we move forward. I don't want to settle for the old is fine. And so, as we move into our discussion later today, it's centered on what that new wine and the new wineskins looks like in our context. Do we want to just survive, say the old is fine, or do we want to thrive? Being the unique vintage that blesses us and blesses our neighborhood in the long run. When I think about what it is that this wine that we share together, to me it's this way of love best expressed through the life of Christ. That's what we remember as we share communion in just a minute. That giving yourself in love, even when it's hard, is actually the path to life. Like wine, it's both bitter and sweet. And so that's the wine. The wineskins is how we gather and what we do as a community, as a church. That's just the container. It matters, and it needs to fit. And so the question today is, what container will best help all to experience love? So, as I'll pray for the bread and the cups, and then we'll share this together. God, we thank you that we can come together today and share time as a family. And as we do, we are thankful for the example of love that we see in Jesus, that he was willing to give of himself to lift up those who were hurting and needed healing and were oppressed by the world around them. And so as we take this bread and cup, help it to give us strength and be this reminder to us that we're called to do the same, that we're called to live in love no matter the cost. And help us to find wisdom and discernment as we seek a path forward for our community, moving into possibly new phases and new ways of showing this love to one another and to everyone around us. Again, we thank you for Jesus and our prayer in his name. As I mentioned the last few weeks, we want communion to be a communal time. So as you share with your neighbors, just share something that you're thankful for this week. Maybe a change that's happened that you're thankful for. If you've had any of those recently. All right, let's transition into our dialogue time here. Kids seem like they've mostly headed in there and are free to do so when they are ready. So as we're thinking about, moving ahead, we've had about a month and a half being out of our building, being at Orchard Park. We tried a couple places, but we settled here. And so now that we've had that time to kind of be stable, we want to think about, okay, what now? What next? What is the path ahead for us that's going to help us move into the future? And a few things kind of frame the dialogue before we start talking at our tables. I think an important thing to note is, sometimes we want to jump into what are we going to do? What do we do? And come up with programs and these sort of things. But I want us to think about the fact that who we are, things like our identity, our mission, that shapes what we do. So we don't start with the what, we start with who or why, and that will lead us naturally into what we're meant to do. And so we'll talk about both today, but I want us to keep those in mind as we discuss. And then next, just want to bring us back to our mission, our vision, our values, and our practices. Since they're not on the wall anymore, I did remember to bring the sign today, but it's up here. As this also is who we are and what we're, in the big picture, what we're trying to do. That our mission is to help everyone experience the love of God. Our vision is everyone knows that they are loved by God. We value humility, equity, acceptance, relationships, and transformation, and that we create and maintain a culture of love through fellowship, service, learning, and worship. This is what we established a few years ago as we had these sort of conversations. And so this is what we're trying to do. And if we need to talk more about this and what it means, then that is also an important discussion. But that's the place that we're coming from. Whatever we're doing, we want it to be informed by this. Not just, oh, this is a good idea, but this is an idea that I think helps bring about some of these things that we care about, these values that we've come to. And then a helpful way that as we were thinking about how to frame this discussion, is around the idea of either to survive or to thrive. And which one do we want? Which one are we actually going to achieve by what we do? Right? Survive often means to just stay the same and only make changes when it's necessary. Like in that parable, the old is fine. Or to thrive, the alternative is to choose to invest our energy, our money, and everything into necessary change now, to move ahead. And so we want to think about which is going to lead to which. Survival, if sometimes you're in survival mode, and that's okay. In some ways, at least to me, that's how it's felt for a little bit. But that's not where we want to stay as a long-term goal. Our goal, I think, hopefully, is to move towards something that thrives. And so we want to think about which is going to lead in which direction. And so we've got a few questions, and I'll just kind of leave it to the table leaders. There's a shepherd at each table who is mostly just there to listen and to take notes. The most, hopefully, that they will do, and this is kind of, I'm just saying this out loud to myself and the other leaders, is just, I hear you saying, and get more explanation, right? So our role today is not to explain everything or give the perfect answers. We want to hear. That today is about listening, to see where people are at, where they see possibilities of us going into the future in a way that could thrive. So that's where we'll start. If you're watching on the live stream, we're going to stop that here because it's mostly going to be table talk. But we will have these handouts and questions available. So if you would like that, put that in the comments, contact me or one of the shepherds. We have a few extra paper handouts that we can send if anyone here knows of someone that would want that. But we want to make sure that we're getting input from everyone who's connected to our community. And we know it's summer, so it's hard to get everybody here on the same Sunday. So if you're not able to be here today, please, we value your insight as well. So we're going to transition to our table discussion now. Unless there are any questions or things that I need to point out, any shepherds think of something I should have mentioned just now that we didn't? All right. Well, let's move into this dialogue, and I look forward to hearing what you all have to offer.